It's too.
Are you? Are you?
This is me trying to keep up with all the fights last night on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Okay. Shout out to our friends over at the Love and Marriage Huntsville Instagram page. Okay. Because that's how I was feeling. Sky Squad, we are back in the building. All right. Now, depending on your tolerance for these types of shenanigans, that will determine most likely how you rate this episode. Because I'm still asking myself, what did I just watch? Baby, let me tell you something. I just watched the episode. I had to go out last night. But my word, what do I even say? Okay, what do I even say? If you are in the chatterization right now, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, tapping in, and being turned on to this Love and Marriage Huntsville review. We are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 5, Episode 5, Halt Them Back, okay? And it was no halting nobody back last night, okay? Side note, if you notice my face is peeling, I had a chemical peel on Thursday, and so it's just taken into effect. So I look a little crazy right now. But nonetheless, we in the building. Now, before I get started with this episode and before I get started with my ratings, okay? Now, I see a lot of you guys are already rating it. It's difficult for me to rate this episode because it's not, if I rate it a 10, I feel like I don't want you guys to feel like I'm condoning you know, that type of behavior on camera. I'm not. But I'm going to give it a 10, okay? Because there was so much to unpack that yes. The peeling is in action. Somebody asked, did it hurt? No, it did not hurt. Let me just tell you real quick. You know what? I'll do a video about it on my other channel. So just stay in tune. Stay tuned in for that. I'll tell you when I drop it. But it did not hurt per se. There was just some things I didn't like. I'm gonna give this a 10. Let me tell you why I'm gonna give it a 10. Okay. There was a lot to unpack in this episode. A lot of feelings that have been pent up that finally came to the surface last night. And it really informed a lot about what each person thinks, how they respond to conflict, emotional intelligence and maturity, humility, and an overall sense of business acumen. Okay. And so we're going to talk about all of those things: stank attitudes, We're going to talk about boundaries today. We got a lot to cover in this thing. Now, again, I don't want to make it seem like I condone that type of behavior, because in my real life, if I had seen that, see, for those of you guys who watch our recaps on Beverly Hills, when Lisa Rinna said she went and locked herself up in the room, this might have been the only time that you might need to lock yourself in the room, okay? Now, I got to ask you guys a question. Seeing this on TV, number one, was it worse than you expected or better than you expected? To me, I liken this episode, and I'm going to tell you why I feel like it's a dangerous space to be in for the show. Because when I think back to the Pillow Talk episode on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. That, to me, it was almost an apex of one of the heights of the show. Now, granted, they took it a step further and they took it higher in season 9 with the dungeon rumors. But this also makes me think about the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta reunion, where Stevie J and Jocelyn destroyed that reunion set. Okay. So in this situation, I'm going to give you guys what I think, who's right and who's wrong. That doesn't mean I dislike these people that I feel like are right and wrong, but it does mean that that's just my opinion, and I welcome yours as well. Okay. And again, the reason I look back at the Pillow Talk episode as well as the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta episodes, because once you reach this apex level of drama, there is going to either be an expectation that we see more of that, and if those expectations aren't met, then there will be some section of viewership that will find whatever else happens after this boring. Okay? All right. So that's why I say that's one of the reasons why I say it's a dangerous space to be in, because it's riveting television, but I just wonder, where do we go next? All right. All right. So that's my honest take on it. And that's just, I got to be real. And when I say I'm going to be real, I'm going to stand 10 toes down in what I say. Let's get into the episode. All right. So we are still at the Madani event. Stormy and her man roll up in it's like a gold-plated Mercedes G-Wagon. I like Stormy. I feel like I need to have a little ponderosa with Stormy after this episode. What y'all think? I think we need to have a ponderosa with Stormy, because Stormy had a bird's eye view of everything that went on. Okay. And I have questions for Stormy with regards to her dealings with Destiny. So we're going to reach out to, actually, let me text my manager now. Hey, let's reach out to Stormy for an interview. All right. Done and done. Hopefully we'll be able to get that going, because I got questions. Now, Stormy and her man roll up. Destiny is pissed, okay? And she informs her store manager to tell Stormy she got to go, okay? Now, Stormy, who has arrived with her man and her mama, have arrived with flowers in congratulations and celebration of Destiny and her Madani reopening. She has also bought her a Gucci bag, to indicate that they are so Gucci. The Gucci bag was about $2,000. Okay. So at this point, the store manager goes outside and informs them that they got to go. Stormy's like, well, I'm keeping this Gucci bag then, and I don't blame you, Stormy. Okay. And but she can have these flowers or whatever. So then Melnika on the inside has to tell a Destiny who is sitting there the entire episode with the same stank face and stank attitude. Okay. Um, she has to tell Melnika has to step into management mode, okay, and say, girl, get it together. You have got to not be petty over some stuff that y'all was arguing about that won't even that deep. But I feel like for Destiny, as she states in the preview for next week, is saying that she feels like she don't want to be anybody's charity case. See, this is where pride comes in, and you allow pride to be your downfall. Why? Because if for me, I am on a show where I am allowed to promote my business, every person that comes up is welcome into the business. Okay. The reason being, the more people that show up to your event, that means the more likely it is that your event will be shown on television. Okay. So I may not like you, especially if the beef that I have ain't really with you, is really with Melody, right? Y'all beefing on the side about some whatever. But for Destiny, she feels like, oh, well, my store is barely open, and my store is too small to carry Stormy's products. Well, you right to a certain degree. Why would I put my products in your store if I see that your store is barely open? That's no shade. That's a business decision. And what Stormy chooses to do with her business is her business. Period. You focus on keeping your business open and showing and proving everybody in the community that you got this Madani thing down. And then the people will come to you, baby. The people will come to you. But nothing good will come to anyone who stands around with a stank attitude when everyone in the building is there to either be seen at your event, so that is your grand opening, that you know that you're going to get camera time for. For me, come one, come all, baby. I don't care who you are, but you in my place right now. Okay? Period. T-Ness says, hey, boo. Yes, Destiny had a very stank attitude. Hashtag the jealousy of it all. Love you, Richie. Thank you so much. Love you too, boo. Somebody said, somebody asked about Dr. Contessa, if she was still there during this part. I didn't see her there, so I don't know. Maybe she was there, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. Destiny's whole energy is just off this entire episode, and it was just so bothersome to me, because I feel like even as much as I feel like we all root for Destiny, I feel like Destiny is her own worst enemy. She literally, and I got to tell you something about energy. Energy, whether you want to admit it or not, is transferable, right? So if you are the owner of the business and your energy is that of on 10, that energy is going to spread throughout and it's going to permeate throughout the event. Now, I don't know how many of y'all out there are spiritual beings or spiritual individuals, but you will, if you are, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's a certain type of spirit that I felt like was on her that day. And I know I'm getting real deep, but that's just my feeling when I was watching it, okay? That spirit was on her. Okay? And I feel like that spirit grew. Period. Period. Even as I'm watching it on the screen, I could feel it personally. Chime in if you understand what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? The same could be said for the pillow talk party. It was an energy already in the room that type of kinetic energy. It is like a powder keg and it's just waiting to explode. Okay? So you got to watch how you present in certain spaces. You know what I'm saying? Not that Destiny was the cause of all the chaos, but she definitely contributed to it with that energy. All right? And furthermore, like I said, keep the store open. That should be your focus. That's it. I understand times get hard, but what you need to do is just focus on your business. And the other thing is this. If you come to me, and this is another thing I want to point out to you guys. In your darkest moments in your life, when you ain't got a lot of cash or money or nothing like that, when somebody hands you something, the only way that you can be a charity case is if you claim being a charity case. Because otherwise, if you look at it from a different lens, when somebody comes to you and they give you a gift, what you should be doing is thanking the Lord for the overflow that's coming into your life. But see, that's a different type of mentality that I don't think she's learned to develop yet. Because I feel like she's in this defense / victim mentality mode, at least at this point, and it's causing her to be so defensive to everybody. Even when Letitia and Kimmy try to talk to her and try to tell her, girl, this is your event. It's a day of celebration. You need to be thankful for the abundance that is coming into your life. You got your enemies or people that you thought was your enemies bringing you gifts. I mean, like what? Like that's how you take your life back. You have to live in a spirit of gratitude, and won't no gratitude up in there. Okay, you so hurt you can't even look at the fact that God is showering down on you right in this very moment. The spotlight is on you, and while you in the spotlight, you got a stank face. Come on now, come on now. You blocking all the blessings. Blocking the blessings. Period. Bruce says, but what exactly is Destiny's issue with Stormy? Whatever it was, it didn't seem that deep. Stormy came in with a positive attitude to support. And that's what it is. Stormy told us in the confessional that she had already gotten a gift for Destiny. This was a peace offering for after they had the two of them going at it. For those of you guys who don't recall, let me refresh your memory of them going at it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Arguing about nothing. Okay? Nothing. They argued with each other. Period. Period. The girl came, and again, it's a bigger picture discussion. If if God is blessing you so much so that your enemies are bringing you gifts, some of y'all not ready for that conversation though. And I can see a couple of people in the chat. Because I see somebody over and over, Stormy never apologized. Stormy never apologized. You can't say you cannot judge whether or not somebody's apology is genuine to you or not. Either you accept it or you don't, okay? But you cannot say someone didn't genuinely apologize because you don't know what's genuine to them. That doesn't make sense to me. There was a super chat that I missed. Okay, speak with your girl Marcella. Hey boo. Says yes, Richie. Richie. I felt like it was disgusting. We seen every cast member for who they were. Destiny should have said thank you. She looks at herself as charity. Boom. That's it. Destiny sees herself that way. Period. Thank you for that. But anyway, again, higher level conversations that not everybody is ready for, and I get it. I get it. And it's not about you needing your enemy to bring you anything. It's that if you it's like a God will make your enemies your footstool. You know what I'm saying? So you still carrying around something that obviously Stormy didn't let go of, and she coming and bringing gifts to you. Like it is what it is. And I do think that's about emotional maturity, right? Come on in my business, boo. Let me show you what we got going on here. And at a certain point in time, once this business is popping and growing, you're gonna be begging to put your products in my store. But for right now, come on in, baby. I got you. I accept your gifts. Come on in, because you filming at my spot today. We ain't never filmed at your spot. We filming that. So again, the blessings, she can't even recognize it. But you got to be ready mentally for that next level thought. But I don't think she there yet. Meanwhile, Melody and her mama arrive. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Melnika was the one with some sense. I gotta say that. I gotta say it. Melody and her mama arrive. This scene is interesting. When we see Melody arrive with her mama and they walk in, first of all, Destiny is extra annoyed. But I know that she ain't send that store clerk over there to kick them out. Anyway, Melody and her mama saunter on in and breeze on by. We see Miss Van speak. But Destiny feels like Melody didn't speak and Destiny didn't speak either. Okay. So at this point, Destiny runs off looking for her daddy and heads to the back and complains about Melody. Her father tries to give her some sound advice. Do not stoop to anybody else's level. If you feel like somebody is disrespecting you by not speaking to you, then at that point, it's either up to you to simply say to that person, hey, listen, I noticed that you came up in here, but you didn't speak to me. What's up? Don't run to the back. Okay? Don't run to the back and complain about something that you could do about something in the present. But there's a trick to the scene. There's a trick to the scene that will be revealed shortly. We're going to get to that. Trust and believe. So Melody makes the rounds. We learned that she's only going to stay for 10 minutes, okay? And she chats with Stormy. Stormy tells her that Destiny was hot when she showed up and that initially Destiny kicked her out. So we learned that Stormy has a shop down the street as well. So maybe that's the reason why Stormy ain't put her products in her store, because Stormy got her own store. Could that be it? I don't know. Anyway, Melnika, we can see Melnika down the aisle, staring at Melody her way. I was wondering if Melnika was going to try to, confront Melody, right? Stormy then talks about there being, a level of emotional intelligence that it takes to, come here, be humble, bring a gift when the situation between the two of them was not even that deep. Okay. So then the Madani store manager comes over. I can't tell if Destiny sent her over there or what, and asks, do y'all see anything y'all like? Y'all trying to buy something? Stormy at this point ain't checking for the store manager that tried to kick her out earlier. Okay. So anyway, once Melody hears that Miss Wanda is in the parking lot, she's ready to go outside and get to talking to Miss Wanda. All right. Meanwhile, we see Miss Van and Martell have a chat about the kids and, you know, Melody and Martell being in a better place, and Melody inviting Martell down to Destin for the family vacation. And she's, you know, excited about the two of them getting on a better foot, and she supports Melody or whatever. Melody walks over and they talk for a second, but it's time for them to head out and accomplish the mission that Melody came for, which is to confront Miss Wanda, okay? So as Melody and Miss Van are heading out, the store manager thanks them for coming, but Destiny's still standing over there with the stank face, okay? And at this point in time, though, she has had enough, all right? So she runs to the door and she yells out the door, "Next time you come in my store, you need to speak." So Melody turns around and says, "I did." Roll the camera back. And roll the camera back they do, okay? First of all, it was kind of boss to me that she said roll the camera back and they rolled the camera back, because what it did show at that moment was, which is why I said that earlier scene was tricky, was that Melody said, "Hi, Destiny." The audio caught that. Maybe Destiny didn't, but I don't think Destiny was even in a spirit or a space to receive it, because she was too busy being stanky faced, okay? And girl, you're too pretty to keep that stank face on. That attitude does not work for how beautiful you actually are, to me, in my opinion. But I mean, you know, somebody says, "Where's the moderator?" Is something happening that I didn't see? Somebody let me know, because we can easily take that take care of that problem. So just let me know who it is and we'll take care of it. Melody's intention was there to get it started, possibly ruining someone else's event. Melody is doing the most. Melody lacks emotional intelligence. I will say this. I do feel like Melody came specifically to confront Miss Wanda. Period. But again, I was having this conversation with someone else. When you are in reality TV, let me tell you how things work for those of you guys who don't get it. I'm looking at Destiny from the perspective of my business I got an event for my business. I need everybody here, because that's the smart business mindset. I don't care what anybody else came to do, but yes, do it here. Where else would you need to go? I don't need you to do it no place else. Do it right here. Do it right here. Because all of those eyes are now going to be on Madani. And what are we all talking about today? Madani. Period. So it's like the Melody Destiny thing to me is a non-starter, because listen, she here. I don't care. Bring it on to my business, boo. Bring it all to my business. Period. What I'm saying, Sierra, is all of this took place at Madani. Did you see? This is again, this is why I try to talk to y'all about these things. It's about, when you do reality TV, you have to think beyond your feelings about certain things and look at the bigger picture. Do you know how many times we saw signs from Madani last night? Do you understand the level of advertisement that can do for your business? Like, y'all got to think about it. And the fact of the matter is, like, I just, if at this point you don't get it, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, advertising equal dollars. That's what you need to be thinking about. And for somebody who has had a hard time opening up and keeping the business open, this is great that everybody has shown up to your event. That's what I'm talking about. You ain't got to like everybody that shows up. But you in business mode now. You can't be in jaded cast member mode, right? And when I say jaded cast member, meaning like I'm mad at these people, so I'm not going to welcome them. No, I'm a business owner first. Dang. See, and this is why I'm saying, and Melnika to me had the right idea. Boom. This Melnika tried to talk some sense into her. Girl, this is your business. Like, let's get this money, baby. Let's get this money. Simply Shamar says, like Sheree, I don't think Destiny. I think Destiny just doesn't have a good business mind and squandered a good opportunity. Period. Speak with the girl. Marcella says Miss Van gave some sound advice. Destiny could have gained investors. Everyone and every day is to make $1. Destiny needs to grow up and make her bank account holla. Boom. Okay. That's what it's about. Be in your bag and not in your feelings. Thank you. Y'all have said it more succinctly than I could have ever said it. And anybody that don't get it at this point, I can't help you no more. All right. So anyway, Melody doesn't have time for Destiny wanting a moment, which if I was Destiny, if I was going to make a moment, I will say this. I would have made a moment with her earlier when she walked in the door. Okay. But again, that's just me. But at the end of the day, I hate when people say you want a moment because I feel like, well, everybody want a moment. That's what it is. Okay. And as I think Carlos King had to tell Kenya Moore back when she was arguing with Marlo in the glamping trip, if Marlo wants a moment, you're gonna give it to her because that's what makes good TV. Anyway, Miss Van tells Destiny that she's being rude. They get into it about somebody lying, and then Miss Van tells it to her straight. You're gonna have to straighten up if you want your business to succeed. And I was like, I mean, she did kind of like drop a bomb on him. But then Destiny says, you go worry about pimping out your daughter, okay? And then she runs to the back, slams the door, and Letitia goes to check on her, all right? Meanwhile, Stormy's face is just like, what is going on here, okay? All right, so Melody versus Miss Wanda happens next. So I don't know where you were that day that this happened. But I will say, I remember this Saturday in particular because I saw Mel's live. And when I saw the live, it looked like everything was well because she was at Miss Wanda's food stand. Now, at that point, when I saw the live, I ain't think nothing of it because I was about to get ready to watch the episode that was coming on that night. Then the next thing I know, I see videos of screaming and fighting. So I remember that night very well. We see Melody going live, and the producer tell Melody, you can't be live while we filming, right? Melody wants to go live and confront Miss Wanda because Miss Wanda is always going live talking about her, according to Melody. Let me say alleged because, I mean, I don't know what Miss Wanda's lives be all about all the time. So anyway, Melody spots Uncle Bernard. Okay, y'all remember Uncle Bernard. And she's like, you weren't you on a live trying to threaten me? Was that you sitting with Miss Wanda on the live trying to threaten me? And and Bernard is like, well, why would I have a problem with you? But Miss Wanda comes in and she's like, well, if I got a problem with you, then he got a problem with you. So then Melody's like, well, what's your problem with me? Because you always talking about me and you talking about my kids or whatever. So Miss Wanda, at this point in time, things are starting to get crunk, okay? But Melody, on her part, is like, you had all of this to say about me and my kids. Say it to my face while I'm right here in your face right now. But I'm going to tell you, Miss Wanda is a say it to your face type of woman, okay? This is where we get into a conversation about boundaries. And on this particular show, the biggest issue that I have seen, especially that came to a head in this episode, is that there are no boundaries. That on some level, the cast has to agree that there's a place that we all are never going to go. That's everybody across the board, okay? Everybody. And it triggers me when someone speaks about or in reference to an underaged child. If you are over the age of 18, then you have consented to be in this space. Period. If you are under the age of 18, you have not yourself consented to, or do you have the maturity level at that point in time to consent for your own well-being? Meaning, a child does not consent to doing that. Now, let me rewind it back, okay? Because Miss Wanda will blame this on Martell questioning the paternity of his own child. This is my belief, similar to what I said on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills review. And I didn't say it, but I'm going to say it now. Martell questioning his child's paternity, I felt like was foul AF, okay? Because if you really truly believe that, then you would have demanded a paternity test. But what it tells me, that since you did not demand a paternity test at that point in time, that you never truly believed what you were saying, is that you used your child as a pawn to get revenge on your wife, okay? In that interview with Dr. Heavenly, if that is where Miss Wanda is pulling this from. So I blame him for setting this in motion. Second, okay, while that is his child to talk about, and while Kathy is Kyle's sister to talk about, I can talk about my sister. You cannot, okay? Period. When you start talking about blood and when you start talking about people's kids, it ain't gonna matter how you frame it. You are still referencing, or it is still an indirect hit to the child. And the person on the receiving end is going to hear nothing else but the fact that you mentioned my child. My issue with Miss Wanda is that if you got a question about Melody and you are claiming that she either sleeps around or has been unfaithful, then you say that. That's what you say. But when you go to the point where you start saying, well, that's not the baby's daddy, or that's what it's like, that's a no. You can talk about the adult all you want to. And again, this is where I talk about this cast they need to set a boundary. They need to come to, like, they need to behind the scenes. Same thing for Bell Collective. Same thing for any new show that's coming out. Y'all got to have a space where y'all can agree we will never go. Period. And again, it's triggering for me because I don't even like to talk about kids on this channel. I do not. I don't even want to talk about it now. The only reason I'm talking about it is because it was stated, and this is what the episode is about. Tracy says, Martell questions the paternity of the baby Melody didn't have. Wanda is reaching to serve herself. Boom. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. All right. So that's my general thoughts about it. And you have to make a distinction when you are talking about these things because the nuance of the situation is important. Toya says Wanda was feeding that paternity info from Dr. Heavenly's interview with Martell. Yes, exactly. That's what she was claiming she was getting it from. Thank you for that super chat. So anyway, Melody and Martell are going at it. I mean, not Melody and Martell. Melody and Miss Wanda are going at it, and they putting fingers in each other's faces. Miss Wanda is trying to pull something out of her phone. I don't know what it is that she's trying to pull, what evidence she has. Do you have the paternity test in your phone? Because otherwise, what proof are we needing to look at this point? So then Letitia comes over. She gets in the middle of it because granted, if I see my mama getting into it with somebody, I'm gonna have to jump into. Like, so I don't blame her for getting in the middle of it because that's just a natural knee-jerk reaction. And I think anybody's gonna have that. And I'm trying my best to be as objective as possible when I look at this scenario. But I'm gonna tell you what I feel like, and when I feel like somebody's right and wrong, and I'm gonna tell you the truth about how I feel. So she jumps in it, rightfully so. I understand that, get your mama out the way. But that probably should also be a discussion that you might want to have with your mama about, hey, you can go at her all day. Go at her all day. Call her whatever you want to call her. Because we're talking about adults. Just leave anybody that's not an adult out of the equation. Period. So Martell ends up going over to try to manage the situation too. But MARSAU got an issue with that because for him, he feels like Martell doesn't have the best history with keeping his temperature, his anger in check. But to be quite honest with you, I felt like MARSAU, you also was on 10 today too. Okay. And I get it. You're trying to protect your wife. I get that. But there was a part of me that also felt like this had been building up in MARSAU for a minute. I don't know why I felt like that. But we're gonna get to that in a second. Courtney says Wanda got the info from the interview, but how about she be mature and not use it as a way to get camera time and be hurtful? That's what I'm saying. It's like that's where it is right there. It's like, yeah, I see this info hanging out there, but my personal boundary won't let me cross that line. Period. Right? That's what it should be, in my opinion. And if I interview MARSAU, I am going to ask him, did you feel like you had some pent up, Martell has been pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me behind the scenes, and I've been trying to make it right. But today, and I told you, that energy was permeating throughout the space, okay? It was an energy, it was a spirit of chaos that was on that whole group, period. Okay? That spirit was all up on that group. And it was on everybody. Everybody. Every single last one of them. That spirit of chaos, it was on all of them. Nobody was spared. Except maybe Stormy, who was inside, okay? Watching with a bird's eye view. Anyway, so Melody ends up getting her mom and they head to the car. Meanwhile, the rest of the group tries to calm Miss Wanda down, and she's going off about the baby looking like another man and saying that Martell needs to get a paternity test. And see, this is the stuff I'm talking about. But there's going to be one thing that she says that has made me feel as strongly as I do now, but we're going to get to that in a second. She's still looking for some evidence on her phone, and she's trying to get out of the space to get at Melody. Hold on. We got a super chat. Miss Wanda has been out of line. She called the host kids bald-headed. I didn't see. I don't even like. Ugh. it's just stuff like that that just I can't get with. That's not entertaining to me. Thank you for that super chat. It's not entertaining to me. It because now it starts to feel toxic. Okay. Melody is mad that people are getting gutter and talking about the kids, but Melody's outside at her car. Letitia and another group are right here. Letitia is saying to the group outside that Miss Wanda wasn't talking about the kids. She was talking about Melody. Melody's screaming from the car about how wrong it is, and she's talking about the paternity of her child. So Letitia then says, well, all of this stemmed from Melody saying that Letitia's daddy was in her DMs. And saying that now, well, Miss Wanda is now saying that Melody had an affair and somebody else is the father. These two aren't the same thing. First of all, let me just ask this question. Was the daddy in Melody's DMs? Because if the daddy was in the DMs, that is facts. We can't do nothing about that. I mean, and if he's single and ready to mingle, then he could do whatever he want to do. Okay. But if Melody call it out and it actually happened, that's a fact. And we dealing with another adult. Okay. That's the distinction here. Now, would I ever tell anybody about somebody being in my DMs? No. Because I don't feel like that's just not, I just don't like that. But if he was in the DMs and it's facts, then it's facts. But unless Miss Wanda has the paternity test, it ain't no fact. Okay? So Martell ain't trying to hear it, and he tells them that, you know, whether or not she's talking directly about the kids, it affects the kids. Okay? It's an indirect hit to them. MARSAU says, well, the parents should be left out of it as well, even Letitia's dad. And Letitia and MARSAU are saying that you can't determine the fallout of when two people go low. Meaning, like, if you go low, I can't control how much lower you go when you come back at me. While that is true, again, we're talking about a child. Like, you keep the conversation about the adults, and I'm fine with that. But when you start talking, it just bothers me. And I'm gonna get into the specific statement of why this bothers me so much in just 1 second. Michelle Mybell, hey Michelle Mybell, Wanda is going too far. It's getting trashy. Okay. Somehow Miss Wanda has snuck out of the store, runs from around behind the store into the parking lot around the cars, and she reaches in to grab somebody. I can't tell who it was, but apparently Miss Van moved Melody out the way so that Miss Wanda couldn't get to her, and a producer is trying to pull Miss Wanda back. Okay, they got her laying on the car. At this point, the spirit of chaos explodes. Okay. Melody starts going off about Miss Wanda coming for her for over a year. Destiny feels like they are making a mockery out of her event. And then she and Mel get into it. So then Miss Wanda says, she goes back over to her food station and says she meant what she said about the paternity of the child. And if that's talking about them babies, then let it be. That is my problem with Miss Wanda at this point in time. She says, if that's me talking about them babies, then let it be. At this point, all boundaries are out the window. All of them. All of them. Because what you're saying to me, even though you are in a state of duress, of heightened anger, you are saying, I don't care if I'm talking about these kids. That right there, I don't like it. Don't like it. So anyway, Letitia is off to the side saying, well, you know what? This is some hip hop stuff. We did not sign up for this. Then she accurately predicts, I don't know if you guys peep this, that the guys are gonna fight. She says, then the guys are gonna be fighting too. And I'm like, ooh, you are predicting what is about to happen next. So then MARSAU, MARTELL, and Maurice are talking, and MARSAU is defending Miss Wanda. And Maurice has to let him know that Miss Wanda did say something about the kids. So Martell at that point is like, you don't even know what she said. Why are you talking about this? And he gets ready to walk away from the conversation. This is why I felt like MARSAU had some buildup in him, and that spirit had jumped from person to person, right? Because at that point, MARSAU decides that he wants to fly into a rage with Martell. And then it's the Scott brothers versus Martell. And security is trying to pull them away. And it just turns into complete and total chaos. And it's just like you said, Maurice knew she was wrong. Okay. I'm not sure why MARSAU was trying to defend Miss Wanda, even though he is always saying how wrong she is. Y'all saw it yourselves. Maurice was basically like, she did say that. She said it. So they got to pull everybody apart. Martell still trying to run up as security pulls him back. Meanwhile, Miss Wanda and a different crew are trying to calm MARSAU down. They're telling him to calm down. And he's like in his confessional saying, you know, telling somebody to calm down doesn't work. I mean, you was just trying to do the same thing, but I totally get it. I feel it. You know, telling somebody to calm down rarely ever works. So that is true. We had a super chat. We had two super chats, actually. We have Francine says, I just hope Miss Wanda is ready for whatever she's inviting now, because like Mel says, she will go to hell, honey. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you, Francine. We have another one from Crown by Bria. I like that name, boo. They was definitely gaslighting them with that false equivalence. And then when Martell walked away, MARSAU should have let him. Wanda is out of line, period. And Destiny set the tone of the day with her attitude. I agree with everything you just said. Okay, period. So at that point, Maurice tells production that when someone sets their boundaries, everyone has to respect it. Okay? And that's the core of this issue with this group right now and why it is so fractured. Okay? Simply Shamar says, random thought, this feels like season 6 pillow talk on Real Housewives of Atlanta, and considering Carlos King was the producer, he managed to create it in Love and Marriage Hip Hop. I mean, Love and Marriage Hip Hop. Lord have mercy, Love and Marriage Huntsville. It put me in the mind of Pillow Talk. It put me in the mind of the Pillow Talk party, because I was like, wow, like chaos erupted. It was chaos. Stanielle West says, I'm trying to figure out why folks are okay with Wanda's antics and wondering why Mel has something to say. Everyone has a breaking point. She would have been told off if it was me. Thank you for that super chat. I love that name, Stanielle. Maya M says, was Tisha predicting, or is this a scheme set up by the Scotts? It was a scheme set up by Todd to come to us with the bull. Tony says, Kimmy and Maurice was big mad when Tiffany brought up Monster. Precisely. Oh my God, here we are. This is what I'm saying. Great example, Tony. Great example. They should never be brought up. So anyway, Destiny feels like, Lord, they're going to get me shut down and put out this place. And then we hear police sirens in the background, and we see a police car pulling up. At this point in time, the producer shuts production down finally. And I'm thinking to myself, where was security? Like, why was there no security there? I mean, just on the general sense of there being so many people, I feel like security should have been there, personally. Thank you, Tiba. I appreciate the super chat. What I will say is this. The difficulty with an episode like this, while it was definitely chaotic, while I did give it a 10, and I will probably end up having to watch this episode again. And it does go down as probably one of the most epic episodes of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm not going to write these people off because they had a moment of chaos and confusion, because I don't cancel people. I don't cancel. I mean, unless you know, R. Kelly or somebody. But this type of moment, I think, can hopefully provide deeper insight for all of them as to how to maneuver and manage the conflict within the group and how to set boundaries, right? So these are still, in my opinion, my people, right? Y'all feel me what I'm saying? Like, these are still our people. So this moment right here, I'm not going to judge them that harshly based on this, because I feel like the great thing about reality TV is that we see conflict and resolution, and it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from it. All right. I'm hopeful. I'm still watching the show. I still think this is one of the best shows on television, one of the best casts on television. And so we got to keep watching, because we got to see what happens next. Okay. Because I will tell you, regardless, as much as I hate to admit it, I was definitely intrigued. So, with that being said, y'all, stay positive today. Y'all know I love y'all. It's Sunday, and I will catch you guys in the next video.